Hi, I'm Sakshi Singhania, and I'm a counseling psychologist and a therapist practicing from over 2 years. I deal with concerns of anxiety, depression, stress, relationships, and trauma using a very holistic mind body approach and approaches of CBT and mindfulness. So, this is a mock therapy session, and in therapy, whatever we discuss in therapy is confidential, except in two cases where the person is planning to harm themselves or the person is planning to harm anybody else. Which means if there is any compromise to their or anybody else's physical, mental, or emotional safety, I will have to let somebody, maybe their family members or close friends, know about that. Otherwise, we can be rest assured.
Hello everyone. So I'm Ken. I'm a co-founder in Therapata, and today I'll be doing this mock therapy session with Sakshi. So because it's a mock session, the situation that I will be describing is just made up. I've seen a therapist before. It was kind of one of the reasons why I started Therapata, and therefore I've been in the shoes of a patient. I've done this many times before, for real.
Thank you, Ken, for introducing yourself. What brings you here for therapy today, Ken?
So lately, I've been working a lot, feeling quite a bit of pressure from my job and kind of not knowing if I'm doing a great job handling everything that's going on in my life between work and other things that are going on. So it's just felt a little bit overwhelming. So a friend of mine told me that, hey, why don't you try seeing a therapist? So yeah, this is kind of a new experience for me, but I just wanted to kind of have someone to talk this out with.
I appreciate you reaching out to a therapist, Ken, for talking about your concerns at work, which is making you feel overwhelmed. So, as I understand, you're facing some stress at work, and feelings of overwhelm are coming out. Do you want to tell me from when has this started and when has it aggravated for you, Ken?
So I have always worked a lot in my life. That is nothing new. So kind of it's not about working a lot. It's more, I think, perhaps like I'm not as effective, as I'd like to be. I feel like sometimes I spend a lot of time on something and it doesn't bring the results, and sometimes I would like the relationships with my colleagues to be better, and maybe that would make things easier. And as a result, it just feels like, okay, I put a lot of effort in, but like the result that I would have hoped for is not really there.
So it sounds like you're saying you do a lot of work, it's not new to you, but the input which you're giving and the output which you're receiving, that's not what you'd like to receive. And the relationship with your colleagues as well, you want it to be better, as you say.
Yeah, and then I think I take it home with me to some extent. So when I'm home, first of all, I come home later. I only catch a little bit of time with my son before he goes to bed, and like I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about what's gonna happen the next day, or some things that I would have liked to have gone better during the day, and therefore, like I'm not 100% there with my son. And I see him getting older, and I feel like I could be a better dad sometimes. Yeah, and I'm sure like my wife as well, like she would probably say the similar thing about me as a husband. So I just feel like I'm not doing what I'd hoped to do on all fronts, all the important fronts in my life. And I'm not sure what to do to change. Like I feel like I've done things to try and change it, but like I'm kind of at this crossroads where I'm stuck. Like what do I do now? I'm not really happy with the way things are. I made efforts in the past, and I feel like if I do something, it'll just be repeating what I've already done and seeing that like either I stopped or I fell short or something. So that's where I'm just not sure. And I've read a lot of books, but I feel like the specifics of this situation, like there's nothing that I can take out of a book and just fix it.
That sounds energy draining, Ken. when I hear that, it feels that you feel very low or drained with energy because your work concerns are impacting your personal life as well. And you want to
Yeah,
build authentic connections with your family, and work concerns are getting in the way of that. And
yeah,
you know somewhere that what the concern is, and you've tried a lot of things in the past as well, in the present of reading books as well, but you're feeling stuck somewhere, you're
yeah.
feeling unhappy somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling like, I'm just, whatever I do, I'm just going to repeat the same thing. And sometimes I think, okay, maybe I should just change jobs and the issues with my job. But I also get the feeling like that's maybe not 100%. Like it's not a bad work and the colleagues are generally good and it's work that I'm generally interested in doing, so I just feel like jumping to some new job is kind of like thinking that the grass is going to be greener when maybe the problem is more with me or inside me, and I'm just not sure how to figure out how to fix it. So like, how do I even decide, like, is the problem with me or is the problem that I should find a different job?
So you're trying to look at things the external way of, do I switch jobs? But then you also have this thought of, even if I switch jobs, would the feelings be constant, or would I still think and feel this way? So is it me or is it something else?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I get the sense more and more that it's more me, right? So, like, when I was younger, I feel like everything was easier. Like I'd go out and party and drink with my colleagues and stuff. And now I have families, and like a lot of the colleagues are younger or they're just different. So that I think maybe there's some age gap or something like this. But that's something I can't change, and I don't want to just move somewhere else and recreate all the same problems, especially in this economic environment. So I'm just kind of at a loss. Like, what do I do? What do I'm
Yeah.
like willing to work on myself, but like I just don't know. Like, what should I do?
It's great to see you take ownership of things. Again, you're taking ownership of your thoughts and feelings, that I can work on myself. Maybe it's more me than it is about external factor. And I would also like to bring in a contrast here about seeing you take ownership is great. There's a thin line between taking ownership and personalizing things to ourselves. When we say it's me, we are maybe personalizing things, and personalization is attributing the cause of external things to ourselves. So, in this journey, again, we are going to, as you said, I'm willing to work on myself. And how do we do that? We do that by working holistically on our mind and on our body. So, in this journey, we are going to see what your thought process is like, what are some of our errors in thinking, and how can we restructure thinking. As you mentioned about age, there are certain bodily changes, hormonal changes which happen in us, and how can we tackle that? The generational gap, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I feel like if I have a plan at work, I've always been good at like, okay, I create a plan and I just execute the plan. And here it's complex, like there's no plan I can just draw out and say, okay, every day I'm going to do this, this, and this, and everything's going to be better. Like, and I'm going to finish my plan in 6 months. Like, I've almost taken that approach in the past and it doesn't work. And I always thought, like, as you get older things get easier in some respects, like at least it felt that way with like watching my dad grow older. Maybe it's because the world is changing or something, but I just feel like in this situation, like, it's not getting easier, it's getting harder. And so I internalize, so I kind of say, hey, like, if there's an issue, like, let's look at myself first and see what I can change before trying to, like, change something major externally. Like, I think in general, like, family life is okay, and, I just want to improve. Part of the reason why I'm not improving more is because work, right? So how do I kind of, it's like chicken and egg.
As you said, a part of why you're not improving more is also work. And work
Yeah.
concerns affect yourself, and yourself affects the work. And so in therapy, we form concrete goals as well. In the next session, we're going to form concrete goals. So do you want to do that right now, Ken, or you want to do it later?
No, yeah, let's try that. I would be interested in having some goals. Yeah, I've done some similar things just like for myself and having some goals, and then I can report back. That would be a good thing.
Okay, great, great. Do you have a pen and a paper with you can where you can jot down your goals, or you can write it on your computer, and
Yeah,
I can
I
write
well,
it here as well.
I have something I can type on.
What do you want to achieve through the sessions, Ken? What are your goals with me in the sessions? What would you like to start with?
I think I would like to understand in my work environment, like how do I get more productive? I spend a lot of time, like how do I improve? I don't think it's a matter of like working more or harder or learning some new skill at work, you know? Like it's more the approach, like the internal approach. So that's something where I want to improve maybe my outlook. Maybe it has to do with my attitude at work. Like I'm not sure. I would say like one goal would be improving that and understanding it better.
Improving what exactly, Ken?
Improving my understanding of why am I not getting the results that I want, or why am I not building the relationships tighter that I would like. I think that is one element to it, and just having like some things that I maybe should work on to improve at that.
As I understand, you want to understand what's going on with you, and you want to bond effectively with people, and you want meaningful work and meaningful relationships. Have I gotten that correctly, Ken?
I think like I'm not trying to win a popularity contest or anything like this, but I feel like some of the relationships of the folks that I work with the most could be deeper, right? And I don't want to like invade on their space, and like I feel like earlier on in my career, like it was always deeper relationships and more trust was built. And I don't know how much of that is me versus a function of them. So it's like, how do I do that? You know, like what steps should I take to improve those relationships? I think like we together would get more done. And maybe it has to do with like the attitude that I take. I'm not sure. Like I try to be nice, but I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if perhaps I should be changing my approach. But that's, I think, one thing that I'd like to just be able to track and discuss with someone.
You'd want to discuss your approach towards work. What do you take in your work? You want to understand how much of it you want to work on your own self, and with what outlook and approach you want to go to work. You want to understand.
I'm not sure. Maybe like some of the folks are younger than me, and I'm not sure. Like I approach them in a way that I want to build a long-term trust and relationship. But maybe because there's some generation gap, they interpret it differently or something. But like, what is the right way that I should? Because I try to be very supportive, right? And I almost feel like some other folks that are less supportive, less willing to help, yet they build better relationships. And that's something I don't get. Like I'm the person that if someone reaches out for help, like I'm always there. I approach it the way I feel like I would want to be approached in developing a long-term relationship. And that's trying how I manage and how I interact with colleagues. And yet I feel like sometimes like when I watch some other folks that are less like sensitive or less not sensitive, less like supportive, and yet they almost get better results with their relationships. So like that's something that just confuses me.
So as you're saying, there's a generation gap, and you like to be supportive. And when you see people who are not as supportive or sensitive as you, but they gel well with their peers and colleagues and people, it makes you question things, and you'd like clarity on that. Ken, could you tell me a little more about your relationships and what is our goal there with your family?
So I've been married for a decade. My son's 8. I think I'm a pretty family-oriented person, but I just feel lately like I'm a bit distracted, and I would like to be more in the now with my family when I'm with them, and less thinking about work or less thinking about what I have to do. So I just feel like I'm carrying work over to the weekends and nights a bit too much, and like I don't know how to tune it out. That's what I'm struggling with.
So your work is coming in the way of you bonding effectively and being totally present in the moment with your family. If you were to decide a goal in your family, what would that be? What can you envision, or what do you want to envision when it comes to family?
Like I know some folks over the years that they had, you know, much more responsibility than I had, and they had the type of job where it was like always on, yet they were very good and disciplined about, you know, as soon as I leave the office and I go home, like I don't do or think about anything except them. Yeah, and it might be a small amount of time, but they're fully focused. And I feel like that's something I want to get better at.
This is one of our goals, focusing on your family when you are with them.
I think if I have someone next week asking me about it and like how it went, so like it would help me maybe stick to it better.
Sure,
So,
sure. So we've decided some professional goals and personal goals for yourself. These are the goals. Feel free to modify them
okay.
anytime in the sessions can. And thank you very much for opening up, trusting me with your concerns. And we are going to work through it holistically, again, with your mind and with your.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking forward.
Okay.
Thank you, Sakshi.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.